Well. It is time to be back. Welcome along to RPL Tier 2, Season 17. Wow, that's crazy to say. But we are here for round number one of the season. We are here for a brand new season, a brand new game. There has been lots of talk about dirty air, less DRS trains, different setups with the rear tire pressures, tire wear, the potential for a two-stop. And we saw the one-stop prevail yesterday in Tier 3 when Not Raz won on his debut. Congrats to him, by the way. He won over Devin and Joe Wilson, who made a return. What a fun little race that was. Joe Wilson did the two-stop. Our top two did the one-stop. And as we said, Season 17 of Tier 2, round one of the season around Bahrain. We've ran here before. We've ran here recently. We had a race a few seasons ago for a season opener here that involved 3 different photo finishes from second place to points finishers to first position outside the points finishers. It was that kind of day back in season 13 to open up F1 24. If we're going to go far back, we could go to the Grandpa versus Hunted battle. Tadpole has won here before as well. He won here in season 13, and I believe there was one other time as well. George won here for the season opener back in season 15. We had an Alpine here win. Alpine win here once. Couldn't say that for a second, but that was ads back in the day. So we're going to be provided with a thriller no matter what. And not only because it's the first race for Tier 2 with the new game. We've had some preseason testing. Nothing that was streamed. We had a race in Silverstone with the Tier 2 drivers. And that was a race Reese and Beatnik prevailed in. You look at last game with where those two were at, and they were nominees for some of the biggest fall-offs. However, you look at right now, and they're back to where they were in F1 23. They may not be top of the top in RPL, but they are definitely in that bracket of drivers who may get moved up. And we were talking about that last game. Who should be moved up? Who shouldn't be moved up? There was a whole conversation about that every single race weekend. And I won't be surprised if we hear about it once again. Beatnik and Reese, two very talented drivers. Beatnik an F2 champion. Reese, a champion in basically all the tiers except for Tier 3. And you can see why that is with how Reese Dainty has been throughout the years. He's next to Night Owl this season. Probably one of the most dominant lineups in RPL history. Just because the fact they have 2 championships. Night Owl has not got up to grips with this game as much as Reese has. Reese seems to be back to his usual self. We got another past Tier 2 champion in here, Tadpole in the Haas, in that same academy. J&T, another Tier 2 champion in here as well. He's in the Racing Bull. Mintoki has taken a step forward, teammates with Beatnik this season, but not for tonight's race necessarily. Speaking of Beatnik, he won our most recent Tier 2 race in Jeddah. So there is a lot to play for, that is for sure. Josh433 doesn't have his full-time teammate here tonight. Invade is the only driver not racing tonight due to penalty. He has a race ban from last time out in Tier 3 in Abu Dhabi. Lennon in the Haas this season. F1 Union. He's a big name throughout all league racing, and I guess you could say the F1 community too. Similar name, I guess, and similar style to Dil JG. A driver who's well known outside of RPL. But can they become well known inside of RPL? Remember, Dil JG won the last race on the F1 23 game cycle. But then when we got to F1 24, things were not backed up whatsoever. SV, he was banned from Tier 2 for a little bit last game. He's back here. He's in the Alpine. He transferred over to the Merc Academy. And guess who's in the McLaren tonight to spice things up? Yeah, Netsky. He wasn't in it last night, but some would argue he should have been. McLaren got out-qualified by both Ferrari cars, which both Ferrari cars are 4th fastest, but also got out-qualified by the Haas of Bezestio. And that car, the Haas, this game, is in the bottom 2 bracket to start off. very concerning things already for McLaren. Didn't even score a point last night either. So, yeah, they're going to have to play catch up in Tier 3. Hopefully they don't have to in Tier 2. And speaking of Tier 2 and the lower tiers for McLaren, their last race victory comes all the way back in this tier, but not last season at all. 2 seasons ago, season 15, round 8, Vegas with George. Yeah, McLaren have not one of the lower tiers. And you'd think with the car they have, they would have done so last season, whether it was Tier 2 or Tier 3, but they didn't. Got a new driver in the Williams. Strickella? I don't even know how to say that. I'm going to need help. Bar 2 has gone over to RB. Zakaria in the Aston. Jake Bandy tonight, getting his chance in the Red Bull with Penguin and Alan J. They're full-time this season. Blair did one race back on F124 in Imola in the Sauber, and it didn't go well for him. But he's in the Alpine tonight, making his return. And speaking of drivers in RPL making their return, how about a long-awaited return for Corey Marshall? We've not seen him since the end of the F122 game cycle. Welcome back, Corey. A very talented driver back in the day, especially one when you look at the likes of L74G he challenged, Matt GW, Maxwell, all in their prime. And Corey Marshall is an RPL F1 winner. Although it's going to be a tough task in Tier 2 Williams, can he become one as well? Last moment, we had Polish Hammer faded. Our original commentary lineup for this faded couldn't make it. Wrecked by Storm was supposed to be the co-com. Then Polish couldn't make it. And then we realized none of them were going to make it. So, your commentator from the last 8 Tier 2 seasons is back. Ryan Searles, it's good to have you guys here and watching. Yeah, what will this new game provide? We have dirty air, tire wear, everything we could talk about. The list just keeps going on and on and on. And speaking of drivers in this lobby, let's continue to talk about some. Alan J. This guy was Tier 3. 3 of the last 4 races in the Tier 3 season when he joined, he was on the podium. And it was for 3 different teams. You look at this game and you say, he is way too fast to stay Tier 3. They moved him up to Tier 2. And there are some tracks where he is going to shine. Top 200 on the leaderboard at least 2 or 3 tracks. This guy is going to do a wonderful job. But now can he prove it when the spotlight is on him? I mean, a winner in Tier 2 on debut would be incredible. Tier 3, he did it on debut. But he's in a trickier situation. A lot of champions in this tier, a lot of talented drivers. And it shall be a fun one, that is for certain. One thing that hasn't changed is George Williams is the tier coordinator still in this tier. There's a lot of things that we look at in this tier and say there are things that have not changed. But yeah, last night's race, only 2 drivers that finished in the points did a 2-stop. We're looking at probably a 1-stop. But you know what? In all fairness to Tier 3, the competition level of Tier 3 to Tier 2 is vastly different. If you look at the amount of drivers who did the 2-stop compared to the amount who did the 1-stop, it was very different. I think there's going to be a lot more tonight who do the 2-stop. But this will be the telling tale for when Tier 1 comes here in the near future of whether or not it will work. This is a more competitive field. If the 2-stop is likely to work, it's going to be with this field compared to Tier 3. Last night, it was a 1-stop that won the race. But the driver who did the 2-stop was not that far behind. If you have an outright pace advantage, you may as well go for it. And speaking of going for it, we're going for the first qualifying session of Season 17 Tier 2. And it is also the first of the game cycle for RPL Tier 2. No rain likely around Bahrain, but 18 minutes for these drivers. Let's see what they've got in store for us. 18 right now in here. We're just missing 2 cars and 2 drivers. While we wait for cars to go out on track, folks, welcome to the Twitch chat. Give us some of your first predictions for the F124 game cycle and let us know who you think is going to do what for this qualifying session. Who do you have on pole? Remember, based on the chart and everything that we have seen, McLaren is the fastest. Then it goes, I think, Red Bull. Ferrari, Mercedes is a toss-up for third. I want to say it's even a toss-up for second. Then the Aston Martin team. Then Williams. 7th, 8th, it's Alpine RB. Then 9th and 10th is Haas and Sauber. So that is the expected lineup for where these cars should be in terms of performance. And we'll find out if these drivers replicate the expected performance that they have. We do have some cars getting on track for the first time as well. Remember, our most recent Tier 2 champion is Night Owl. Oh, well, alright, that was weird. So just keep that in mind. Last season, he was in Ferrari. Ferrari were a lot closer to the top. Jake Bandy, I believe he is retiring because of being on loan. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I've not been active here the last few hours. And this is one of the tracks from last game to this game that has changed drastically. If you gone from Aston to RB, so I got a qualifying ban. Penguin's wheel broke. All right, so that is why Penguin is not here. Thank you for that. I got a lot of drivers not here that usually are. Maxwell as well. I believe Hunter was originally going to be in that contract for Red Bull, but he's not. Both McLaren's not here, by the way, just to keep an eye on that. We shall see what happens. Who is our first driver starting a lap? Yeah, Jake Bandy, started on qualifying ban due to being not on loan, but reserving up in the Red Bull. You remember he is in the Red Bull Academy. One of the big changes we had during this offseason, we had Aston Martin transfer over to Red Bull and VCarb for the Honda/Red Bull Academy. Ferrari keep the same. Mercedes, though, they add on McLaren and Alpine. Speaking of academy changes, Icaria changes academies from Mercedes Academy to now Red Bull Academy. And its first lap with the Academy change starts now. DRS applied. Let me know as well if the game audio is a little bit too loud. Either way, Zakaria braking very heavy for turn 4. You can see the curbs change on the inside of turn 1 and turn 4. Also over here in the S section. Just sending it. Let him cook, they would say. Well, let's find out if what he did is worthy of going to the top and staying there. Obviously, this will be the first lap, so he'll be at the top for a little while. Turn 9, turn 10, very heavy on the braking, especially if you got no ABS on, regardless of the game cycle. Whether it's 23, 24, or 25, it has always been a tricky corner for drivers with no ABS. But right now, he's entering turn 11 with less than 50% left on that battery. One thing that hasn't changed in qualifying that I know a lot of drivers, especially Reece Stanty, one of the drivers talking about, is the fact that you could still manage ERS in qualifying. And honestly, a lot of people are not happy about that. But you could see Zakaria burning battery now, coming to the last corner. And everyone was talking about, in the preseason events, this corner right here being such a tricky one for Dirty Air. Look at how it opens up compared to previous games. This is a reprofiled track, rescan track, and deployment used for Zakaria, but our first lap is on the boards. That's dismantled by our new driver in the Williams, then F1 Union, then the Haas coming across. That is Lennon. Lennon is slowest, though. Do we have Beatnik or Netsky first? Netsky is starting a lap. How about we go to Beatnik? Because he won the last race here in Tier 2, and that was at Jeddah. He was a reserve last season for Tier 2. He decided to race a lot in Tier 2, whether it was on loan or reserving for his own academy. And he made the most of those opportunities, and this is exactly why he has got a chance in McLaren for tonight and Mercedes this season. And keep in mind, Beatnik never won when he was in Tier 3. He won in Tier 2 only. So a very weird way it was for Beatnik to end off last season, but right now it's the McLaren fastest. Beatnik, now Mintoki second. The Mercedes/McLaren Academy, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to find out if the Ferraris are on a lap They're starting one. How about we go to them? Night Owl and Reese Dainty. 11 drivers have clocked in times. JNT's the slowest. But how about drivers like SV and Bar 2? Bar 2 last game, we were talking about him as probably one of the slower drivers. He got a chance in Ferrari and didn't make the most of it. Now, he has went to the Red Bull Academy, and he's been fastest. Very good effort there so far, and same with SV. Tadpole as well in the Haas, winner of this race 4 seasons ago. But Night Owl and Reese have both crossed the first sector split. Let's see what their difference is right now here at the bottom of the board. Remember, they're one of the only 2 drivers not to have laps in. Night Owl clears Reese Dainty for that first sector split, 28.3 to a 28.4. We have Netsky crossing now, and that's 5th fastest from Netsky. Not bad. Here's the difference with Reese and Night Owl's battery. Night Owl going into turn 11, 50%. Reese, 55. So Reese is doing a lot more management here just to burn the battery here in the final sector. And look at him burning the battery right there just a little bit. Purple on that sector, 106.0 for Reese. Let's see, was there any difference there in that sector? Reese was faster in the second sector, so although Night Owl had the advantage in the first sector, Reese did in the second sector. We're watching Night Owl, last season's champion, burn battery across the line, second fastest. Can Reese Dainty dismantle that? He is going to. Fastest for Reese Dainty, the season 6 champion back on top. Sorry, season 5 champion. It was Blonde who was season 6. But now basically everybody who was in the top cars, they have laps in. So, hooray. And I think Mintoki might be going for another one here. Look at this from the South Korean. She won 3 races last season. Or not last season. From 1 last season to 1 each season, it seems. So, yeah, Mintoki, she's made the most of her opportunities. And hopefully this is another one that will too. Cookie already sang Bar 2 way too quick. Yeah. That could be a possibility, but you know what? No one thought of that last game. Bar 2, racing in the Sauber and the Haas, not doing great. Maybe this game adapts to him a lot better, and maybe he will be in Tier 1 eventually. Someone who we were talking about maybe last game being in Tier 1 was Mintoki. Like I said, the polls last season and the season before were racking up 3 wins across the last few seasons, excuse me, as I was trampling over my words there. Change this to miles per hour. One thing that hasn't changed from last game as well is the Ferrari is still the fastest car in a straight. Did we expect that? Probably, but the Aston Martin is the slowest. Mintoki on this second lap seems to be doing better, and she is doing better. 3rd fastest, it is Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, the top 4 teams. And look at this, Night Owl and Reese, or sorry, only just Night Owl, going for another lap here. So he did a lap, well, he did an out lap, then a lap, cool down lap, and now another one. But can he find time in the first sector here? And is this a plan for Ferrari to save their tires? The reason why I say this is because it seemed like yesterday their car did wear a lot in tires. However, if you save yourself a pair of softs here, you're likely going for the 2-stop. There's no reason to do a 1-stop with softs. And yesterday the 1-stop came with medium hard. No one touched the softs really yesterday in the Tier 3 race. But like I said, if anyone's going to do that 2-stop and prevail from it, it's going to come from this tier. It's more representable here in Tier 2 for that to happen. And you could already see Night Owl better in the first sector this time, but only just. He's got to find time in the second sector. Let's ride on board with the Australian until we get to the final corner and see what he's got in store for us. Oh, he's down. Will he back off? I don't see him backing off whatsoever. He's used all of his battery, it seems, and then he's going to deploy it out of the final corner just to come into the pit lane. Mintoki's backed off. Who's on a lap? Let's see. SV, potentially? Let's see. He's down in the first sector, but I want to talk positively about him because he's 9th and... Ooh, that was track limits, but he is backed off, it seems. Yeah. One thing I have noticed since this track has got rescanned is the track limits are a bit sketchy. You're going to keep an eye out on that tonight, that's for sure. When you get to, let's see, who's going through this section? There's a Red Bull coming through there. You get to where Alan J's coming through. You see this left-hand portion right there? You can cut so much of it. Last game, you couldn't do that at all. In this game, you can. And SV cut a bit of the S section and didn't get dinged for it. But is that because he backed out? I don't know. Zakaria, 9th fastest now. And let's see, is it Alan J or F1 Union on the lap? How about both? Let's go on board with AJ. 300s down, and he's getting a tow. We're seeing our first tow of the season. It's not from Bar 2, it's from J&T. What a team player he's being. The season 12 champion. How about that? That's cool. Yeah. And another thing from last game that is a lot different is the fact that you cannot follow somebody while behind their lap, or else you're going to be ultimately screwed. You try to follow somebody, you're just going to get a bunch of dirty air. And we're going to see the impact of that when someone tries that and thinks it's like 23 or 24. Because it's definitely not like 24 nor 23. You're going to need a little bit of slipstream, and Alan J got that, and he's going to go 4th fastest. The top 4 are within a 10th right now. This is very similar to yesterday's Tier 3 qualifying. Bar 2's already burning the battery. He's nearly below halfway as we get to turn 1, so we'll switch to... Oh, Sakari almost collided with a Sauber. That was Josh. But Zakaria was in low fuel mode. Josh just wanted to get back to the pit lane. Oh, dearie me. So since we switched up R2, let's go to Beatnik. Yeah, he's up massively. This is going to be a big lap from Beatnik. We spoke about the top 5 now being within a 10th for pole. All within a 10th of each other, really. And you could see it going to change very quickly. Qualifying yesterday in Tier 3, by the way, just to put it into perspective, not usually like this. 5/10 separating the top 8. But right now, how about 5/10 within the top 5? Beatnik fastest and back on pole position. His only pole in F1 cars came with that surprise pole for Alpine. And tonight, he is going to look to do just that again. The driver who just doesn't seem to put it together for one lap has done so once more. What an unbelievable shock that is. And if anything, that just goes to show how much more faster the McLaren is. And yesterday, none of the Tier 3 drivers utilized it. I mean, I don't want to fault Polish. He did have a lag out, so we couldn't see his full ability, I guess you could say. But one thing, though, is Timbed was back there as well. And I know Tier 3, they have a change. They do not have full traction anymore. So I'm sure that is hurting Polish Hammer a lot. But, I mean, although Timbed got damaged in the race, he really doesn't have an excuse, though, does he? He's in the fastest car. He qualified behind me, behind Possessio, behind a lot of others. I mean, I don't want to put him down. We're going to give everyone a chance here to shine. But if McLaren's going to get a lower tier win again, it's going to probably come from Beatnik right now. And this is very mighty pace. Ken, his full-time teammate, when this race is over, Mentoki, back it up though. Mentoki is full-time with Beatnik this season, but both McLaren drivers not here tonight allows Beatnik and Netsky to occupy the McLarens. So, although they're in the same academy and academy teammates, Mentoki is going to back off and come in the pit lane. She wanted to go faster. She was going to go faster, but there was something she saw there in the last sector that made her abort the lap. That right there, 27.4. I think the pole time yesterday, I don't know if it was a 28.0. But we're already faster than it, I'm pretty sure. Just because that lap right there, wow, that was something. We also have Master in the Aston Martin as well. I forgot to talk about him, another driver making a debut. A lot of drivers making debuts. Some in the tier, some just in RPL. F1 Union, I'm pretty sure this is his RPL debut. Alan J, it's his Tier 2 debut. And it's not representable to where his teammate would be because, Jake Bandy, he's moved up to the Red Bull tonight, for Penguin not being here. Penguin's wheel broke, if you guys didn't catch that. The new Williams driver as well. It's an RPL debut, I believe. Got returning drivers like Tadpole, Corey Marshall. Yeah, IVR Flair. Remember, Lennon was Ferrari last season. And yeah, F1 Shorts, good to see you in chat. It is close behind Beatnik now. However, yeah, I didn't expect to be here. I wasn't originally going to be here, but Polish faded, wrecked by storm. All those guys who were going to commentate or said they would didn't end up coming to join in on the fun. And yeah, I mean, Polish made his availability clear, Faded did. But we did ping Wreck by Storm, and there was not a response there. So we'll figure that out in a bit. And what we are going to figure out is who's going to be on pole for the first round of the new game cycle and new season. Season 17 of Tier 2 this is. 2 minutes remaining. Beatnik currently on pole. Will anybody stop him? I mean, you got to let us know in the Twitch chat, folks. Do you have any predictions? Every single driver who is still in this session is out on the track. Vandy, Flair, Master, all qualifying bans because of being put in lineups late. And I think everyone's just waiting to be the last one to get out there. Maybe track evolution being a big factor, but surprised no one collided right there. Look at this. This is insane. We got the Williams on debut starting the lap right here. I want to see if his first sector is any better, and then we'll switch back to our pole contending drivers and see what they have in store for us. Can they go faster than what they already have on the board? Down right there. Josh starts a lap as well. Remember Josh on podium in that Saudi Arabia race at the end of the season, last season. Everyone right now is looking to get a lap in perfectly within the time, but the problem is there are so many drivers in this last sector and approaching the last sector that are so close to each other. This is going to be touch and go. Mintoki is starting a lap, and we're going to go on board with her as she's behind F1 Union, not beneficial to the Mercedes pair. Mintoki is going to get hampered with a lot of dirty air. Same with the Red Bulls as well. Same with Reese. I know Beatnik is in a really good spot right there. He's going to get to the line in time, I'm pretty sure. But again, the problem is everyone is starting a lap so close to one another. So nip and tuck like that. But they're the ones choosing to do it. And some of them have broke the queue. But we are 15 seconds to go. Mintoki is up. Reese right now crossing the first sector. The question becomes, is he up now? And he is. He's up by a monstrous amount. AJ's crossed the first sector already. Same with F1 Union. Now we look to Netsky and see if he's doing any better. Checkered flag is out. Our first one will be Josh. Netsky is up. The Williams on his debut did improve. And now to Night Owl. Couldn't tell if he improved, but Beatnik, I'm going to look to him in just a moment if he's improving. Across the line, Josh does find time. 14th fastest, so it's not slowest for the Sauber driver, and Beatnik is down. Beatnik is down. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Mintoki is up by a 10th. Reese, can he find time through the second sector? Checkered flag still out. 3/10 right there. This is going to be so close. F1 Union on his RPL debut is going to cross the line now. What's it going to be from the Mercedes pair? Union first, Mintoki next. Union second, Mintoki back to second. Now we look to the Red Bulls. Alan J on his Tier 2 debut is third. And Reese comes across the line to snatch pole away from Beatnik. Beatnik's going to have to find time in the second and third sector. And if he doesn't, he's doomed. He is finding time. Purple in the middle sector. Netsky couldn't find time. It is so close right there from third to fifth. And even lower. Night Owl snuck in there. He's only seventh. Reese on pole. But is it going to be Beatnik once again? Beatnik versus Reese. Which one is it? Beatnik has done it. His only pole in F1 cars came for Alpine back in Season 7 Canada in F1. And he is back on pole again. The driver who does not appear in qualifying is going to be Mr. Saturday once again. Beatnik is on pole for the first time in Tier 2, and he no longer can say He's the only driver to win more than 2 races in this tier and not have a pole, because now he does. Unbelievable. What a chaotic ending to this session. Oh my goodness. We're in for a thriller. Beatnik on pole. Reese is second. A good performance from the Ferrari. Mintoki third. Alan J on his tier 2 debut is fourth. Union fifth on his RPL debut. Then you got Netsky back there in sixth. Not a bad effort. Night Owl seventh, our reigning champion. Bar 2 up in eighth. Zakaria ninth. And the Williams on his debut is 10th. Lennon moved up to 11th right there. Tadpole back in 13th. And you saw the rest of our lineup. But that was a thriller. And we're going to be in for another one in the race. Holy cow. That was something. Beatnik, welcome back to pole. It has been way too long. 3 game cycles ago. And what a way to do it. When you're in the McLaren, you get a perfect opportunity, and you get an opportunity to be on pole. Folks, give us your predictions. We could see a 1-stop. If we do, it's medium hard or hard medium. If we see a 2-stop, there's a variety of strategies. And remember, our starts at this circuit have been interesting, and we're going to see even more chaos ensue. But give us your predictions. Who do you have winning it all? Will it be Reese getting a better start and winning over Beatnik? Will it be Beatnik winning from pole? Will it be Mintoki? Will AJ win on debut again? It is going to be time to find out. That is for sure. Let us know what you think in the Twitch chat, folks. What a chaotic one we're coming for. And who do you think is going to be the champion this season as well? We've got a lot in store. And I cannot wait for this season. I bet you guys can't wait for the season either. Because it is about to start. Lots of changes, lots of new faces. Some drivers on debuts, some returning. Some in new places, some in the same place. But Tier 2 action is back in full form. RPL action is back in full form. What a qualifying session, by the way. And as I said, we're just waiting on these 5 red lights. A lot of previous champions here. Night Owl, Reese, Tadpole, others from other tiers. Beatnik as well. I mean, this is going to be a lot of fun. No rain expected. I mean, it's Bahrain. Do you expect that? Do you? Let's be honest, we don't expect rain in Bahrain. Here we go. A brand new season, a brand new game cycle. It's time to start Tier 2 Bahrain for the season opener. It is lights out and away we go. Reese got a better start than Beatnik, and Reese takes the lead. Reese cuts in front of Beatnik to lead into turn 1. No move made from Beatnik, no move made from Mintoki, but Netsky slides down the inside and hits AJ. Contact made. And F1 Union prevails through for 4th. Now we get through turn 2 and turn 3 a bit more cleaner, 3 wide. Night Owl, bar 2, side by side there. Bar 2 a little squirrely. The Williams on the inside is going to go side by side. Wheel to wheel action to the S's. Look at this. They somehow hold it. Bar 2 is off, rejoins, and we've got contact at the back. Jake Bandy, Josh, SV. There's a 3-car collision, and all 3 of them are all behind by a big margin. Don't know what happened there. We're on board with the 2 drivers going wheel to wheel in the S's. But Not the start SV wanted, not the start Josh wanted, and definitely not the start Jake Bandy wanted. He had to start from the back anyway, and he's been involved in a collision. Master up 5 from the back, that's the most. Down the most, though, SV, 5 places. Reese, however, has almost broke DRS. And let's see the tires. Reese, I'm the only one on the softs. Night Owl on the hards, Lennon, Flair, SV, and then the rest of them on mediums. Reese is burning battery to try and get Beatnik out of DRS. What a blistering start from Reese. That was immaculate. Mintoki in DRS pursuit of Beatnik. And now we're going to start to see the dirty air. It will be more crucial than last game to have the battery. And you could already see wheel-to-wheel action in a turn 1. Master takes 13th over Lennon. Oh, Flair. Zakaria gets by Tadpole. Bar2 trying to get 8th place back. A little bit of pinching here. Can Bar2 keep his nose in? He's going to have to back off, and he does. So Reese starting on the softs ultimately confirms that it's going to be a 2-stop from Reese. Tadpole, very, very close moment with Zakaria. You can just see now heavy braking for turn 2. That cloud of smoke. A lot more effective compared to last game. Reese thinks he can do a 2-stop. He believes he can do a 2-stop, and he's proving right now why with that pace. Bar2 goes through for 8th. And this is the midfield battle we're going to look at. 8th on back, all the way to 15th. It is not a DRS train. It is simply a dirty air train. And right now, that button is being turned on. Mintoki, 2nd place she's trying to grab. She's got the ERS on use. DRS applied. Reese fastest lap again and leads lap 2. But Mintoki is pulling out from behind Beatnik and taking 2nd place. Here's Netsky as well on the inside, wheel banging down the street with AJ. Now going to cut off the Red Bull and get 5th place right here. Here's another pass. Further behind, a little bit of contact. 2x2 action, 2 rows deep. One thing that has changed from last game is that contact model. You can get away with a little bit of contact and not go in the wall or go off. But right now, Tadpole may get 2 and 1. Heavy on the brakes. Oh my days. 3 wide for a moment. Tadpole has to slot back in line, and he's going to. But this 5-car kerfuffle is getting absolutely out of whack. Oh, Tadpole, be careful, buddy. That could have ended in tears, and luckily it didn't. You're right. The only way that Mintoki and Beatnik can catch Reese is they work together, or they hope the 2-stop does not prevail for Reese, because if it doesn't, Mintoki is in prime position. And here comes Bar2, trying to look for a move, but he has to tuck back in line. 1.9 is that gap. Reese is not pulling away like he thought he was going to, but I'll tell you right now, he is committed to this 2-stop, and if there's anyone who's going to make it work based on the start, it's only Reese. Speaking of 2nd place and that battle to try to catch Reese, Beatnik will re-overtake Mintoki. Remember, teammates for the season in the same car, but right now, only Academy teammates for today. Here's Night Owl, the reigning champion, diving down the inside, similar to how George and him did it 2 seasons ago. And right now, Night Owl is back in 6th, and Bar2 has been overtaken for 8th. Here's F1 Union and Netsky. Netsky's having a great race so far. He has gained some places. How about 4th place? That's his best career finish in the tier. He's already doing better than he was in Tier 3. And mind you, though, he was in the Williams in Tier 3. So you know what? All that pace that he has is not being limited right now. Bar2 might have got track limits for that one. You don't usually get warnings around Bahrain, but when you do, they are very, very nasty. Just because they're going to affect your race. And they will affect it big time. DRS swapping is more difficult now, but I think there's some tracks that it is doable. Because I'll tell you right now, they have pulled away from Netsky. But in all fairness, though, Netsky, Union, and Night Owl, and AJ, they've been battling a lot. Yeah, and that, you know what? To your guys' point in the Twitch chat, that's exactly why battery usage is going to be so crucial this game. We don't realize it now, we will later. And we didn't realize the effectiveness last game of the DRS trains until later on. We have probably realized, not yet, but we will later, the effectiveness of this button. And right now, look at Mintoki. She's not even on the button. She's just on hot lap and breezing by for second place. Here's Netsky getting overtaken by Union. It's a McLaren-Mercedes swap-a-roo for 2 spots here. One for second and third, the other for fourth and fifth. And here we go in turn 1 again. Bar 2 has the outside line, gets squeezed, and has to back out right there. Here's Night Owl, side by side with Netsky now. Night Owl, he gets Netsky. Night Owl, his hard tires seem to be coming in. Look at this, a little bit of touching now for 8th. Oh, a little snap. Bar 2 backs off again. And again, like we said it before, and like we said it time and time again, this train, although it's not a DRS train necessarily, it's a dirty air train right now, it goes all the way back to 15th. J&T leading it, and his teammate, second car in line. Look at this! Mintoki is back in DRS pursuit of Reese. So is Beatnik. They are there to pounce, and they want to say something before it's all said and done. Reese wanted this 2-stop to work, and he thought it could, but right now his tires are falling off. Three tenths the deficit. Mintoki's on the button. She's not got much to spare. Reese has got a lot more. Here's DRS online. Here's the lead changing. Mintoki went right and went for the lead. Mintoki, the South Korean, for another straight season, is leading an RPL Tier 2 race. And how about for 4th place? One Ferrari got overtaken. The other's overtaken another driver. And now Night Owl, although he was with contact, he got through on Union. And Reese is not done. Reese, the long way around, is going to get the lead. Or is he? He will. He's got it. He's got it in control. He said, you know what? Although these soft tires are dying, I'm not going to go down without a fight. And Mintoki, although she's second place right now, she can now save some battery. Yeah. I mean, Reese right now is in a very compromised situation. He's got to stick to these softs and realize that if he's going to pit here, his strategy may be changed. Although he's on wheel, the tire wear probably isn't helping his case regardless of controller, wheel, pad, whatever. You know? I think for Reese right now, he's saying to himself, you guys are on pads, some of you. Why are you guys not burning as much tire wear as I am? Well, Reese, you're on softs. And maybe it might be another dainty disaster with strategy. I really hope it's not for this race, because right now we're playing some DRS mind games here to the final corner. Who got DRS right there? Mintoki overtook, and Mintoki got DRS. Reese has been left without it. Oh my goodness. Reese is a sitting duck. Beatnik's burning, and Beatnik's going through. And maybe on 2. No, but he locks the brakes up. So this time down to turn 4, Reese will have DRS, but the problem is he went from the lead all the way to 3rd. He tried to play DRS games with Mintoki, and Mintoki just barely snatched DRS off of the Season 5 champion in Tier 2. Also the Season 9 F1 champion for perspective right there. This is just insane. You gotta be loving this. Yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot of dirty air that drivers are having to adapt to, but they're also having to adapt to tire wear. It's much more different than last game. You cannot make a medium hard go easily. Yesterday, I did a medium hard on controller, and my tires were 85% at the end. Yeah, that is the struggle. You can see Reese is well ducking out. He's got Night Owl in DRS pursuit, so that's a good thing for Night Owl, but not for Reese, because his tires are dying. Josh penalty, SV penalty. 2 drivers who got involved in a lap 1 accident already with penalties, trying to push the boundaries and really messing it up. I mean, although Reese wants to go for a 2-stop here, I don't really understand the plan, because if he thinks he can go medium, fine, but he better pit this lap or else he is doomed. He slides again. Reese is in trouble. Reese may be in DRS, but Night Owl is closing. And look at our lead. Are we going to see a swap? We are. Beatnik has it. 3 different leaders. Although he started on pole, Reese snatched the lead from him. Then it was Mintoki. Back to Reese to Mintoki. Now back to Beatnik. This battle for 8th place is a cracking battle, but there's about to be contact. There is! Bar 2 holds on. And the top 7 are in their own fight away from this mess. Bar 2 will maintain the place, but he is losing so much grip. I mean, right there, that corner alone, he lost 2/10 and got a penalty. Night Owl lets Reese by. Ferrari playing some team orders right there when Reese probably has messed up the strategy here. Now Night Owl on hard compound tires can go attack our leaders. If this is going to go like Tier 3 did, Night Owl will be on the same exact strategy that Scarenzi was yesterday, where he could just attack on the mediums late on. He might not have the track position, but he might later on. We'll have to find out. Yellow. It is Flare into the wall and with damage. Very visible damage for the Alpine. Not the way he would have wanted to start the season. Also not the way he would have wanted lap 8 to continue. We're looking at our leaders. Reese Dainty's in. Mintoki in the slipstream, no longer, and now ahead. Oh, but that was very tight. She just caught in front of Beatnik at the last moment. Beatnik thought better of it, and Reese is on hards. Yeah. So now his hope is that he has to go for an undercut here and hope that these hards last the whole race. I mean, for me, yesterday, I pitted on the same exact lap. I think it was actually lap 9, a lap later. And, mind you, I'm on controller. Reese is on wheel. It was 85% wear. And, I was driving a Ferrari too. But, I don't know, the strategy's more questionable here. And Reese is in a very tricky situation. You saw Mintoki have a slide there. Closed Beatnik and Night Owl up. But Union and Netsky, because of Reese peeling off, they have fallen a little bit here. And you know who else pitted with Reese? AJ did as well. He's on the hards. But this is a lap earlier than I expected for a lot of drivers. Jake Bandy too. So Red Bull double stacked right here, but to be fair to them, they at least had the gap to do so. Anyone pitting this time? No. What we do have, though, is a battle for the lead. Beatnik going through. Mintoki conceding the lead, but maybe conceding second with this as well. She's going to have to put up a good defense. And right now she is, but Night Owl is there. Mintoki will be helped a little bit by the DRS from Beatnik and going to go for it. Mintoki on the inside, side by side in turn 4, 3 wide off corner exit. And now to the S's, it's Beatnik who leads, and Mintoki has to stay in line. Hitting that time, we had Netsky in, we had Bar 2. I am not even going to try to say that. I really need help. Someone help me say that, please. How dare you, me. Zakaria has stayed out, though. Same with Tadpole, Corey Marshall, Lennon. So we'll see them peel off soon. Union stays out as well. Fun stuff right there. Yeah, hards can go 20 laps, but you're going to have to nurse the tires while doing it. Even yesterday, Devin had troubles with getting to the end. So did our race winner, not Raz. They had to nurse the tires at the end while still pushing around one another. So, yeah, I mean, you can get to the tires at the end, but you're going to be at a big risk regardless just because of your situation. No one pitting from the top 4, but we do see some position changing about to happen. Here's Mintoki reclaiming the lead and also pinching Beatnik as well. Night Owl late in the brakes right there, almost rammed Beatnik. Zakaria's in. So is Tadpole. We'll keep you focused. Oh no, JNT 10 second. He is sped in the pit lane. He was not the first one. It was Flair, who did so as well. Oh, dearie me. We'll keep an eye on the lead, though. I've got to quickly be right back. The one big thing for Night Owl while battling here with the top two and even trying to cover Union as well is going to be tire management. J&T gets a 3 seconds, so his day's going from bad to worse. I'll tell you right now, although Night Owl is on the better strategy going hard medium compared to medium hard, as we do see some drivers peeling off, Beatnik and Mentoki don't speed, none of them do. Night Owl claims the lead from this. However, the interesting thing from him is that because of this dirty air this year, if Beatnik and Mentoki get this undercut working perfectly, and although Night Owl is going to have a lot more pace, if the Mercedes/McLaren Academy can put up a good defense, then really it's not going to matter too much for Night Owl here, unless he has that big of a pace difference compared to these guys. And now, here goes AJ and Netsky trading spots as we look at the two coming out of the pit lane. This is going to be touch and go right here. Beatnik and Mentoki are ahead, and the undercut didn't work as powerful as we thought it would, but they are closer to our two net leaders. Beatnik and Mentoki will have to warm up the tires, and we got Corey Marshall who went in as well. Master who went in. Jake Bandy not having the day he would have wanted, but he overtakes J&T. Almost had a Stroll Kvyat moment right there. Was it Sainz Stroll? Doesn't matter. It was a collision of 2017 though. And Reese, speaking of net leaders, 3 seconds clear almost of Mentoki. Right behind SV. SV could be a big pain in the neck, though. He's a part of the McLaren/Mercedes Academy. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to give Reese a big amount of dirty air right here and just eat his tires alive by trying to get by. SV is going to play the ultimate team game right here, right in front of Reese. SV is the preferred line. He's going to pinch Reese. Reese will try a switcheroo. And who's going to get the traction? It is Reese. They wheel bang. SV now pinching. Oh, a lot of contact. And now Reese might try to play some games. He does. He backs off. So that means Reese is with DRS. SV is without it. Union pits. However, this is costing them time. The battling has put the gap from 2.3 seconds down to 1.5. Reese with DRS not using everything he can really because SV has enough straight line speed to hold off Reese. And they're really same battery as well. So, I mean, equal situation, but SV slides, and now it's going to pitch Reese. Contact. Lots of it. For Reese, although he does take the position, this is shades of Imola and Baku last season. Everyone just seems to have it out for him. And once again, SV is a big slide. Dirty air now going to affect Mentoki and Beatnik, and I'm going to assume SV lets them by, but Mentoki goes off and comes back on. Wow. SV is struggling, and for the sake of the Academy, he should let Mentoki and Beatnik by. He's going to let Mentoki by, but Beatnik is compromised a lot right there. However, the good thing for Beatnik, regardless of SV, is that he's got DRS and he's got the place. Lennon lets Reese go. The good thing for Lennon, though, is he did give Reese DRS, so I guess Reese got repaid from all the squawking around. AJ trying to get by his good mate SV. Different academies, but they'll still play together, right? Yeah, they do. Now Netsky, his team principal, going by. Union, though, he thought about it. look for Lennon to be a big team player right now with this train. Union gets SV. Because SV played a little bit of tactics here with this train. And Lennon could easily do the same and make the gap the same as to what it was moments ago, before all that happened. And keep in mind, Night Owl still has yet to pit. I don't know why it disconnected me from the party. I don't like when it does that when I'm alone. But maybe it just does not want me to be alone. It's not fun. Lennon has backed up Mintoki, but here comes Mintoki with DRS breezing by, and Beatnik wants to follow. Here goes Beatnik on Lennon. He says, thank you very much, I'll take that place. Now that Lennon has conceded 2 places, how does he play with AJ now? Mintoki's got a lot more tire life than Reese does. I mean, Beatnik too, and Jake Bandy. This is just a nightmare for him. Not going the way he would have wanted. He went off where Kimi did in 2020. Don't think he has damage. He doesn't, but I've heard a lot about how this car is hard to drive. The Red Bull, it's fast, but it's hard to drive. You need the right driver. And Jake Bandy, yeah, as the chat says, having a Jake Bindy moment. Lennon got overtaken by AJ, and now Netsky wants to get by Lennon. I mean, AJ's lost touch with Beatnik and Mintoki because of all this, so I mean, it's really going to be a 4-car race for the victory. Pending what Night Owl does. If not, it'll be a 3-car race. More yellows. However, down the main straight, are we going to see 3 abreast? We will! Look at this! The overspeed from Union is nuts! Here he goes on both! Union is going to have to pinch Lennon to get by, and he does! Now it's Lennon and Netsky. Contact! Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, though, for Jake's sake. I feel bad for him because, really, he got put in this Red Bull last moment. Flare into the wall. Jake Bandy's out in the pit lane. Not too sure what happened to Flare there, but this is shades of Imola a few seasons ago whenever he lost control of the car and then just didn't make much of an attempt to continue on. And, you know, I really don't want to assume this is intentional, but this is definitely shades of Drift King last season. Or last game, I should say, in Tier 3. Flare gets another 10 second, up to 20 seconds now. And I'm not sure why he's continuing, if I'm being honest. Because really, you'd think with a driver speeding like that in the pit lane intentionally, they would end up retiring right after. That was a bit concerning. But Jake Bandy out, not his day, very unfortunate. However, for our net lead, Mintoki is going for it. And Mintoki drag racing Reese down the straight, getting the place. And here comes Flare out of the pit lane as well. SV finally pits. Union got AJ down the main straight as well. What has happened here? Yellows. Couldn't find where. However, the Williams is in. Now, did Flare repair his wing is what I'm wondering, because right now, he's driving like he didn't get it repaired. However, he is getting out of the way for blue flags, so then again, he is being mindful of the other drivers. Just maybe not for their strategies here. Because if Night Owl gets a safety car right now, he might come out in the lead. If he doesn't, He's projecting to come out around 7th, maybe? I don't know. Lennon's still yet to pit too. Just keep that in mind. And in all fairness, Bartu, who pitted earlier than a lot of the drivers, has taken full advantage of it. Keep an eye on the amount of stops some drivers have done. The Williams on his debut, he did 2 stops. I think a lot of people are going to commit to the 1 stop, just like yesterday. Night Owl still staying out. Mintoki is broke away from Reese right here. No DRS for Reese down the main straight. Here comes Beanick as well. Look at Beanick in the slipstream. Here he goes. Late, very late, but he takes it anyway. 2nd place, net P2 it will be. It's his. And Flair is out. Flair has caused a safety car. What happened to Flair? You gotta wonder after what you saw happen a lap ago. Going into the wall at the second to last braking zone would look to be intentional, and then speeding in the pit lane on purpose, causing a safety car, has just thrown a wrench in this race. Night Owl, who was yet to pit, he's going to probably keep the lead from this. This is very unfortunate for the sake of what could have been a battle for the win. With a bit of strategy, now has been out the water and out the window completely. If he says his AI stuck it into the wall, he must have paused right as he committed to the pit lane. Yeah, interesting. That's very questionable, regardless of whether he was an AI or not. What we saw the lap before was a bit concerning. I remember at Season 3, Tier 3, Drift King was done with his race. He crashed on purpose, and it caused a safety car. Maybe not as late as that one, but we do have a safety car past halfway. Night Owl is in, and you gotta wonder, will Mintoki join the Ferrari coming into the pit lane? He must have done an invade. Look at this. The drivers who saved a set of mediums because of qualifying are all coming in. Oh, AJ was so close to speeding right there. Lennon coming in too. Lennon, I think he was the real big winner from this. Oh, part 2! That was so tight coming into the pit lane. He slid for about 100 meters, if not more. He somehow kept going. I know the double stack will affect some people, but we've not talked a lot about Tadpole. He's taken advantage for sure. How about SV? I know he just pitted a few moments ago, but he's going to stay out anyway. He might make the end of the race. In all fairness, though, this safety car screws Bar too. I mean, he had a 3-second gap. Probably was going to be 8th. Now that's not for certain. Yeah, Turkish driver having one of his best days. I mean, look at the strategy right here. I mean, only 3 drivers really stayed out and waited for a safety car and really waited for this moment. I mean, Night Owl was already on the opposing strategy, excuse me, and Lennon just hadn't pitted yet. Same for him as well. 2 Ferrari cars taking advantage. Goatley's saying how Reese's terrible strategy has been saved by the safety car. If you think about it, though, I think Ferrari got put in the best position here from the safety car. The Mercedes and McLaren teammates of Toki and Beatnik down in 6th and 7th. Reese and Naito are 1st and 4th, so Ferrari have really won out from the safety car, even with Lennon as well. I feel bad, though, for Bar 2. I mean, it just... yeah, didn't go his way. Mind you, yeah, he didn't have the penalty early on, but he did later on, and he had only a 3. And right now, he would have just wanted to make it to the end of the race without a safety car, because he had the gap to finish P8, but we know it's not always guaranteed, and it clearly wasn't. So the safety car might come in this time, it might not, but let us know who you have finishing in the top 3 with the current situation. So, safety car is coming in at the end of the lap. How about that? Night Owl in control. And really for him, I mean, I think the worst he would have finished based on the strategy is probably 4th. But again, sometimes it doesn't always go your way until it does. And the race is not over until that fat lady sings. But right now we're about to go green once again. Night Owl smashes the gas, and here we go. Back to green flags, and they're all jockeying for position. Look at this for 5th place. And further behind that, Netsky's in a gaggle of cars. 2nd place is being challenged. About 3rd. Around the outside, here goes Reese. He gets the place, or does he? Beatnik off the road a little bit. Joins back on, side by side, contact down the straight. Master got a penalty while that was happening, but 3rd place, Beatnik has the inside this time, and swoops in front. AJ, then Union, Netsky behind. And look at this, and the S's Bar 2 is getting eaten alive. Yellow flags, that is for the Williams on his debut. Corey Marshall, his teammate, gets a penalty. 3 wide crash, almost. How did they not crash? They were all jockeying for position, trying to get it woe down in the braking zone. And you saw those guys trying to move around and cut in front. Tadpole lost it there in the braking zone, and he goes off and comes back on. You see Lennon weaving, maybe trying to get temperature in the tires or pissed at somebody, not sure what. Here goes Bar 2 back down the inside. A dive bomb move successful for the Turkish driver. I mean, this race from Flair causing that safety car has just went nuts. Zakaria down the inside of Tadpole. He gets the move done. And Night Owl, who was in control, has pulled out to a 1.2 second gap. In all fairness, though, we saw Mintoki's pace earlier on. And we knew once the race went on, she ended up doing a lot better. And we're going to see if she, as well as her Academy teammate Beatnik, can catch Night Owl here late in the race. You're going to notice from these mediums, it's going to be all or nothing. No one really cares if they wear the crap out of them, just because of what's at stake here. AJ with a penalty. That's for 5th place. Still a chance of winning on debut in Tier 2, just like he did in Tier 3. It's done and dusted. He's now going to be trying to hold on for points, because right now, he's going to fall all the way back to 8th. And yeah, that doesn't seem like a lot, but if anyone behind, like Zakaria or Tadpole, get closer, they will be taking advantage of points. And Mintoki, she's back in DRS pursuit of Night Owl. Unreal scenes. I mean, you just throw a safety car in this and you see exactly what happens. Unbelievable. Zakaria with a penalty now. That's costly for the Dutchman. Mintoki is hunting down Night Owl. Is it close enough? No, but Reese is going to go for it and then back off last second. Here comes Netsky. Down the inside. Slingshot on Union and waits for it until turn 4 where the ERS and DRS both get applied. Here we go. The long way around. Netsky takes it. This battle is warming up here from the top 4 places. They're really the only ones in contention with AJ's penalty. Although AJ's a part of the train, he can use these guys and girls to pull away a 3-second gap and still maintain 5th place, especially with Netsky's battle with Union probably still not over. Night Owl may have his teammate in his mirrors, 2 cars behind, but right now it's a hungry pack of cars behind him in different academies with Mintoki and Beanick hunting him down. Here she goes. Mintoki is going to take the lead of the race, and although she's won a lot late in the season, she wants to win a season opener. She slides while taking the lead back in this race. Here comes Night Owl, back at it. DRS, ERS to the outside. And Night Owl is able to just cut in front of the South Korean, but he goes deep. Night Owl sliding around, but takes it. And there was another penalty on the screen. Not sure who that was, but might be Josh. He's up to 6 seconds. You know that in this situation, Beatnik and Mintoki have to work together for this. You know they want it. McLaren is not one of the lower tiers since season 15 of tier 2. Round 8, it was George. And that was super long ago. That was at least 13 race weekends ago. And for Mintoki's case, she's won once in the last 3 seasons. Once each of the last 3 seasons, I should say. And she's hungry for a win. How about starting the season off with one? In a car that's at such a disadvantage, though, compared to last game. Even last game, it wasn't a disadvantage. But now with dirty air, less DRS trains, she's in for a really good treat right here if she can get this done. And AJ, he just wants them all to work together and not battle so hard because he can gain a 3-second gap right now with the circumstances. Here's the ERS button being turned on before the start-finish line. Lap 25, Mintoki to the inside, and she's going to try to go for it with no battery. The battery's depleted. Mintoki takes it. Beanick on the inside, side by side. Night Owl pinching very much to the curb. Now it's Mintoki left without DRS, 3 abreast. Night Owl cuts in front and just holds it. Mintoki drag racing Beanick for a second and keeps it. HJ slapped out. No! Oh, that's so heartbreaking. Oh no, George is going to have to invite him. Heartbreak for AJ. I know he would have not got 5th right now with the current circumstances, but he would have had a good chance. Maybe not with all the battling in front, but he could have done so. And right now, he's going to have to need a huge miracle to do that. The battery machine broke. Mintoki's going to be careful. I know she's back up to 43%. You can't save batteries easily as last game, but you're going to need it a lot for the last lap. Night Owl's been in these situations. He got trounced by George a few seasons ago in this situation, so he knows what it's like to lose around here. He can get redemption tonight, but AJ's falling off like a rock. Lennon to 7th. Mintoki breezing by, going ahead, and getting the place. Bar 2's had an accident. AJ's car is pitting him as well. Oh no. Mintoki grabs back the lead at lap 26 of the Grand Prix. What a thriller. And we're not done. Here goes Night Owl on the inside. Late on the brakes. Contact! Mintoki's been collected in a slide. And Night Owl and Mintoki, they clash once again, just like Brazil a few seasons ago when they were academy teammates. Very questionable move from Night Owl. I know the contact model isn't too much better from last game, but that was nasty. Seemed like Night Owl went for a dive, expected Mintoki to back out. Mintoki got pinched, and the contact ultimately brought her back down to third. All right, Cookie. That's a funny message there in Twitch chat. Yeah, Lena's doing a good job in P7. Tadpole in P10, like you guys mentioned. Yeah, fair play. But this race is not over. Beatnik now wants to take back the lead of the Grand Prix. He's going to do so with 3 to go. He cuts in front of Night Owl to take it. Netsky's in 5th as well. If he gets 1 spot better, he's going to equal his best Tier 2 finish. And that was on his Tier 2 debut as well. I really don't think Night Owl's done fighting this. Beatnik is trying to win back-to-back races. I mean, he's won for McLaren before, but that was a long time ago. That was on 23. That was 6 seasons ago at Austria. And for a while, that was his last RPL win. Simply, bar 2 again. Off. But that was simply his last win for a while. He didn't race for a while because of the work schedule and things complicating. He came back to Tier 2 only last season to reserve in races, and that was because he was Tier 3 full-time for the last 2 seasons. He didn't win there, but he won last season in Tier 2 again. Now he's trying to win a race here in Tier 2 from pole position from the first time, mind you, but also in a huge drought for McLaren. McLaren, last season in Tier 2 and Tier 3, didn't win in either tier, Tier 2 or Tier 3, at the end of the game cycle. Their last win in any of the lower tiers comes back in Season 15, Round 8, Vegas. George did it. And you know what? This would be a good way to do it. And right now, he's spreading off a lot of pressure. Whew, whew. Look at Night Owl trail breaking, but also still going around the outside and prevailing. Who's going to get the DRS? I believe it's Beatnik. Beatnik gets forced out wide. Night Owl not playing nice. Mintoki wants her say in this as well, but Beatnik has to wait a little bit longer. You can't blame Night Owl being aggressive. But has he stepped over the line? Maybe with Mintoki, not with Beatnik though. Because I don't think Beatnik was enough alongside. That'll definitely be a question the stewards have to say, because you know with these drivers, they love to submit every little thing. Same with their team principals. You'll probably say it's Academy surface, or not Academy, raceable surface. We'll see what the Academy managers say. And the Williams on his debut is out. Not sure what happened there. Yeah, that was a retirement on track, which is not allowed. You got to go to the pit lane to retire. Someone said he reset the track. Here we go. We're shaping up for the last lap. Night Owl, 57% on that battery. Beatnik equal to that. Mintoki a little worse. Reese is on 8%. Let's see what happens. Mintoki is closed up to Beatnik. Here comes the last lap of the Grand Prix, sponsored by Golf Air. Who's going to take the moment into turn 1? Here comes Beatnik. Is he going to go for it already? No, he waits until turn 4. And Mintoki closed in a lot there in the braking zone, but had to avoid hitting the back of the American teammate, the Academy teammate. Beatnik is going to have to settle for one of these next DRS zones, because right now he's not going by Night Owl. Josh, battle with the green cars here for 12th. But back to the leaders. Beatnik went wide. Beatnik went deep. That may have sold his chances to beat Night Owl. And Night Owl may have went deep there into turn 10, but does that help him on corner exit? Oh, Beanick gets a tank slapper. Big one. It is going to come down to the way they've saved their battery here. Night Owl has an advantage, but he slid a little bit right there. Beanick in pursuit. Beanick is close. He's using a lot of battery, but he's going to have DRS on one last straight. Will he be close enough? Night Owl, who won the last championship last season in Tier 2. He's going to have a drag race with Beanick, but it is Night Owl prevailing, his most recent champion, starting just like last season, on top, winning the Bahrain Grand Prix. Win number 7 to his Tier 2 career. Beanick 2nd, Mintoki 3rd, Reese 4th, Union 5th, Netskeet, Lennon, SV Tadpole, and Corey Marshall on his return. Rounds out the top 10. Reese's strategy didn't play well. Union went 5th on debut. Lennon 7th for Haas. It's a double Haas points finish. Nice way for Tadpole to come back. Corey Marshall returned as well. But for Night Owl, he starts things exactly where he left off. He says, yeah, I want to hear the noise. I may have hit Mintoki and Beatnik a few times, but yeah, I want to hear it. Podium celebrations underway. Career win number 7 for Night Owl. He's tied 9th on the all-time win list. May have not been the way he would have wanted to win it, but he has won the Grand Prix and sprays the champagne. Let's see. Most overtakes SV. Driver of the day SV. I don't know if I agree with that, but he did get help by the safety car and stayed out and still did a really good job. So fair credit SV. And in his return to Tier 2. Fastest lap Night Owl. Race winner Night Owl. Here are your final results. Night Owl took fastest lap, but that is not a point this game. SV did a really good job of getting the points there. 8th place, only did the one stop. Lennon as well. Lennon stayed out though. He got helped by the safety car, and so did Night Owl, to be fair. But you still gotta play the game, and they play the game well. Zakaria, part 2, they lost out so much from that safety car. Beatnik gets another podium from pole. This is not a win from pole. Mintoki 3rd. If there's something said about that Night Owl and Mintoki contact, you know it's going to be Beatnik in the stewards room. So we'll see what is said. Here are your full results. 2 DNFs, 3 retirements. Night Owl leaving off where he started last season. I don't even want to say started off because he didn't win in Portugal. He didn't even get a podium in Portugal. But last season's champion, the reigning champion, is back to where he was and back to where he belongs. Ferrari, so far in F125, they have won the opening 2 races. First, it was not Raz with a first career win. Then it was Night Owl with a 7th career win, pending the stewards room, of course, because you know that contact with Mintoki, it was very questionable. I'm sure she's not happy about it, and who can blame her? Beatnik, the contact with Beatnik at turn 2, you know, there's going to be raceable surface argued right there. And that's fair enough, honestly. But it's the contact with Mintoki that's going to go down to the stewards room, I'm sure. And we'll see what the drivers do say about it. AJ, not the debut he would have wanted in Tier 2. Union in 5th. Good job to him on his RPL debut. You know, he doesn't have a full-time seat, but, I mean, if he does go full-time, we're going to see a lot from this guy. Very well known, like I said, in the F1 community, so good stuff right there. I've commentated on his races before. Got to go all the way back to Aussie Racing League. Everyone likes to use that league name as a different 4-letter word to start with. We're not going to say what that is. Netsky P6, not bad there actually from Netsky. I'll give him credit, especially for a Tier 3 driver. Maybe he'll go to McLaren, take over for Tim Better, Polish, because right now it's not going well for them. Toki, another podium, not bad. She started off, I believe, last season with a podium at Portugal. I believe she started off Bahrain the season prior with a podium, so 3 straight season opener podiums. I think the last driver to do that, I believe, was Grandpa. It was a while ago. Ferrari could go 3 in a row this weekend. They're going to have to rely on Jack and TB for it, and it's going to be a tough task because Florian Fanzelter has shown a lot of pace so far. Lennon P7, I know he got helped by the safety car, but he did a humongous job to hold on. Fair credit, Lennon. He didn't show a lot last season in the Ferrari, but I'll tell you what, Envy did a good job keeping him in Haas. SV and Alpine in P8, not bad for their car either. And Tier 3 driver, this is, mind you, not bad at all. Tadpole P9 for Haas. I know, SV and Lennon, I know they got helped by it. So did Night Owl with the safety car, but you still got to take advantage of your situation, and they did. Tadpole P9 in his Tier 2 return. Some were saying he maybe shouldn't be Tier 2, but guess what? He got points pretty much because of the penalty situation, but also because he kept himself in it and did the right things. He got beat by his teammate, but still proved that he should be Tier 2. It'd be scary if he takes over for a Ferrari driver, though. Corey Marshall in his return, P10 as well. Not bad from the Scottish driver. I haven't seen his name in a while. Williams in P10. I mean, you don't always like to get beat by a Haas or an Alpine, but he's showing all right pace, and that's probably where the car should be. Aston Martin, I feel bad for them. They got screwed over with their situation. Master did a good job to come through the field for serving a qualifying ban, being late to lineups and everything. Good job on his debut. I know he's spoken Twitch chat. Welcome to RPL. Enjoy the thriller. Enjoy the chaos. Zakaria P11, he got screwed over. So did Bar 2. Bar 2 spun a few times late on. Just couldn't put the race together, but he's got a lot of pace. He's got a lot of promise for this season. A lot better than last game, so that's a good sight to see. Josh didn't do great in the Sauber, but he stayed out of trouble most of the race, just not with the penalties. JNT P13. AJ, though, I feel bad for him. It's the whole reason Lennon, SV, Tadpole, Corey Marshall, 4 of the bottom field drivers were able to take advantage as much as they were. It would have only been 3. But AJ lagged out, and it just didn't go his way. Such a shame for him. But you know what? This is shades of how I think Uri and even Turbo started their Tier 2 season last season. Even Foles at one point did. They started their Tier 2 campaign. It was either last season or season before, I think it was. They started it well. They just got to hang on, and AJ's got to hang on here. The Williams driver, I tried pronouncing his name. I'm not going to do so again. Probably is going to get a penalty post-race for retiring on track. Flair might get a huge penalty for what looked to be almost an intentional straight line the lap before he retired, and then went to the pit lane 10-second and then retired on track, causing the safety car. Jake Bandy, I know he's not Red Bull full-time, but this is not the day he would have wanted. Very nasty day for him. Just didn't end up the way it should have, and he was our first retirement from the event. Let's see, read off some of our final Twitch messages. We got Lennon and Shorts speaking in Dutch. It's not a day in the RPL server without some Dutch drivers speaking Dutch. Congrats to you guys, though, who did well. So, tomorrow, we'll be back for Tier 1. Titan should be on comms for that, I believe, alongside Faded. We'll see what happens. Either way, folks, I'm signing off. We're signing off here, RPL Formula 1. We'll make sure this race gets uploaded to YouTube. Might be midweek just because of our situation for Tier 3 right now. We'll figure it out, guys. But regardless, Ryan Searles signing off. Catch us for Tier 1 tomorrow. Australia, actually. Sorry about that, folks. Australia. We'll see you for Australia tomorrow. F1, Season 13, Race 243 all time. Like I said, Titan and Faded on comms for that. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your evening. And next Tier 2 race, I believe, might be Silverstone Reverse. Tier 3 and Tier 2 having a lot of the same tracks to start off their season. So we'll see you next time for Tier 2 next Friday. We'll also see you tomorrow for Tier 1 at Australia. Until next time, folks, have a good one. And goodbye. We'll see when the next time is. We'll be up here. I don't know. I don't know for me. Probably not a while. But it was a blast. Thank you guys in Twitch chat. Good night. Have a good one. See you tomorrow. See you Friday. Bye-bye.